probably put you on your fucking ass.
3, 2, 1. You crazy mother.
What's going on, guys? Just coming at you guys with a video. I know it's been a little while since I've made one. Hopefully the GoPro's set up right. Actually, hopefully it's even recording. I don't know. It's been a while and it's not flashing red, but it says it's on, so I guess we'll find out. Anyway, I know a lot of people liked the 500-mile review that I did on the 950, and it did really well. It's got some decent amount of views. So what I wanted to talk about today was not so much the 950 again as just this class of bike. So this is my opinion, obviously. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. But I'm going to talk about under 1100cc bikes today and my personal opinion on them, and obviously the V-Star 950 falls in there. So in my opinion, these bikes are excellent daily commuters within the city. I think that they're awesome. Like right now I'm doing 55, no big deal, right? Awesome bike, pretty comfortable, definitely enough power to get you out of the way, get you out of harm's way, get on the highway, whatever, all of that, no issues whatsoever. Perfect bikes for that. Decently comfortable. Some of them are a little bit bigger than others. The 950 I already talked about in the last one. It's a little cramped for taller guys, but I got some highway pegs that I need to put on here, and that's gonna fix any of that for long rides. But which way do I want to go? I guess ultimately my opinion is these bikes are only good for city or short mile rides, and I'm not saying that you can't do long rides. I've done 3-hour rides on this bike. They can be done, but they're not fun in my opinion. Anything past 70 miles an hour, I'm constantly looking for another gear. The bike, I don't understand why they didn't put another gear on these bikes. It's just obviously I'm not an engineer, so obviously the bikes are engineered to be able to handle the higher RPMs. It's not going to hurt the bikes, but I always find myself grabbing for another gear. I got a buddy who's got a Vulcan 900. He said the same thing. Like on his bike past 70, he's always searching for another gear. So, and it's not there. Like you're out of gear. So, and that's on the highway. So for me on a highway ride, I'd prefer a bigger bike. And I test rode a V-Star 1100 once, and honestly it didn't have much more power, if not any more power than my 950 has, because it's a carb bike, and it felt kind of the same way. It needed another gear. So if I could do it all over again, I probably would have got the Roadstar. I think what is it, like a 1700cc in the Yamaha, and it's a nice looking bike. Or a lot of people are gonna hate on it, but I'd get a Harley. I think that's, you know, ultimately, and a lot of people rag on Harleys, but they have a lot of power, and I wouldn't be searching for another gear. The thing with Harleys that annoys me though is, like, this bike is an extremely, in my opinion, it's an extremely good looking bike, and I got it for $3,900, you know, fully decked out and ready to go. The equivalent looks of this bike in a Harley would be like a Street Glide. Well, a Street Glide's like 30 grand used, you know, 25-30 grand used for a Harley. So yeah, it'd give me my extra gear, but at what cost? You know, an extra 25 grand. So, you know, I ride this bike and I love it. I love the way it looks. It's comfortable. I love the way it sounds. I love everything about it. But on the highway, I wish I had another gear, and I'd get a bigger bike just for that reason, if I could do it over again. Now, if you're in the city and you don't plan on commuting a lot on the highway, or you only do short mileage on the highway, then, you know, it's not a big deal at all. Who cares? That won't affect you anyway. But I do find that past 70 miles an hour, I need another gear. So that's just my personal opinion. And it might depend. It probably depends on where you live too, because I don't know I don't know, like the highway, the speed limit in most states, but I doubt that it's like Texas. I know, so Texas, our highways are 70 or 75 mile an hour posted speed limit signs, which means we do 75 or 80 is the flow of the average flow of traffic. So the average flow of traffic on the highway is over 75 no matter what. That's the average flow of traffic here. So, you know, come 80 miles an hour, see, like right there, I thought I had another gear. I don't, and that was at 60. That was at 60 miles an hour. I would have went up another gear. So, you know, take it or leave it. If you're looking at buying bikes and you're looking at the smaller bikes, that's just something to consider. What kind of riding do you plan on doing? Or do you plan on doing a lot more, you know, city riding, just kind of bar hopping? Or do you plan on doing a long highway ride? If you plan on doing long highway rides, especially if you're riding 2 up, I'd go with a bigger bike. That's just me. And I know a lot of people talk about, well, that's a whole nother video's topic, but you know, the whole beginner CC bike thing. Look, guys, CCs for cruisers and CCs for a sports bike are 2 completely different worlds, right? So a lot of people get that messed up. They're like, oh, well, everyone says start out on a 250 or a 300. That's great, right? A Rebel 250 and a Ninja 300, that's 2 completely different beasts, right? Like you can't even compare the 2 of them. This 950 has tons of power to get you going, but it's not snappy power. Like if you, like right now I'm doing 60 and I can just fully open the throttle right there and we're open, right? And we're moving and we're hauling ass now, right? Okay, but at no point in time was I about to lose it on that ride, right? At no point in time did the front end come up off the ground, or did the ass end start getting squirrely. You know, that wasn't a 30 mile per hour almost instantly gain in speed, right? Whereas a 1000, you know, the equivalent on a sports bike, you know, on like a Gixxer 1000 or a CBR 1000 double R or something, it'd probably put you on your fucking ass if you went from, you know, just riding to full throttle if you weren't ready for it or you didn't know what you were doing. You know, the front end's probably definitely going to come off the ground. On this cruiser, that's not even a thing. Like, you'd have to be in like first or second gear and like floor it and pop the clutch to even get the front end off the ground on this thing. You're more likely to the ass end to come around on you before that even happens. So you know, it just depends on what kind of bikes you're riding and stuff. If you're looking at your first bike, all I'm saying is if it's a cruiser, you might want to look at something bigger if you're going to do a lot of highway riding. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't get this V-Star 950 as your first bike. Absolutely no reason. Just don't drive like an asshole. You know, the bike will only do what you ask it to do. So start out slow and work your way up, and more than likely in 6 months to a year you're going to want a bigger bike. I mean, that's just the way it is. Now on a street bike, you know, some guys say the same thing about street bikes. Get 1,000 and work your way up. That's, you know, that's fine too, but that takes a lot of discipline, and the reason people recommend against that is because there's also a huge, I wonder if I'm even recording, there's also a huge chance of fucking up, right? That's if you're riding a sports bike, 1,000cc sports bike, and you don't really know what you're doing, and you come to a four-way, like maybe a yield intersection or something where lanes are merging, and you get scared and you give it a little too much throttle, well, you can really fuck some shit up, right? You can have a pretty bad day really fast on too big of a sports bike. Cruisers, everything happens a little slower. So, you know, I'm not saying you can't get yourself in trouble, you definitely can, but it's not going to be like instantly, like on a street bike, it's like, what the fuck just happened, right? Like, I don't know, I was there, I got a little scared, my heart rate was going a little bit, next thing I know, I had a fucked up day, right? On a sports bike, you telegraph that shit. Like, you would know it was happening. Like, oh, okay, I gave it too much gas. Fuck, here we go. I'm hitting the car, right? Like, you would see it's not going to be instantly. So that's the argument with the intro to picking a new bike, and that should have been a whole nother video. But I guess it kind of ties into my thoughts today of get a bigger bike, right? Just get a bigger bike. Get a bigger bike than you think you want. That's because you're gonna want it anyway. So, I mean, the V-Star 950 is an excellent bike. It's comfortable to do everything you want it to do. But at the end of the day, I don't like it for highway rides. That's just the way it is. I don't like it on the highway. For like what I'm doing today, riding around on the back roads, I wouldn't want any other bike. I mean, why? Why would I spend any more money on any other bike when I have a fully decked out, excellent condition bike that's extremely reliable that I can just cruise around on right now, just like this, with no problems, even with someone on the back too. Highway riding, it's shitty. I don't like it. 80 miles an hour, I feel like I'm tapped out the whole way. You know, I guess the equivalent would be like a little Honda Civic trying to do 100 miles an hour for 2 hours straight in like a 80s Honda Civic with like a 1.2 liter or some shit. You know what I mean? Like a smart car doing 100 miles an hour for 2 hours. Like, yeah, I might do it, but you're gonna be like six grand the whole way, you know. And that's how I feel on these bikes. You're riding, it's just wah, you know, the whole time, just wide open, going to where you're going for an hour. That's not fucking, I don't like it. You know, I don't like it. That's just me. Obviously the bikes are designed to do that, otherwise they wouldn't be that way. So I don't think it's gonna hurt the bike any. It's just personal preference. I don't like it. So, and then, you know, going into the conversation about the you know, if you're picking a new bike, that's just some stuff to keep in mind. You know, if you're doing a lot of highway riding, I don't like this bike very much. I wouldn't pick any bike under like 1100 cc's or 1200 cc's. Probably like a 13. I wouldn't go under a 1300 for highway riding. That's just for me. You know, if you're doing a lot of highway commuting or whatever, I wouldn't go into like a 13. If it's your first bike and you're picking a sports bike, yeah, I kind of agree with the whole 300cc thing. If it's a cruiser, absolutely not. Don't get a fucking Rebel. You know what? That's a whole nother video that I'll get into. Anyway, I think I've ranted long enough on today's topic. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's been a while since I had a video. Catherine, I haven't forgot about you guys. I still got the stuff sitting in the corner that I need to ship out to y'all. I know it's incredibly late, and I'm sorry about that. I'm so horrible with actually getting things done, as you can see with my upload schedule recently. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Until next time, try not to work too hard.